is Larry.
John.
And, Jean Pepe. And
Ron.
And Ron. So we have a smaller crew today, but hopefully we'll be able to set the
Still a beautiful
world
crew.
on fire.
The most beautiful part of the crew.
So today we're going to talk about a lot of things, but the most current thing that came about was just happened on Friday was the meeting in Alaska with
Trump thought they were meeting in Russia.
Trump and Putin.
Trump said it multiple times. We're meeting in Russia. We're meeting in Russia. No, stupid. We're meeting in Alaska.
Well, see, but the Russians still call it Russia.
So you think he's an asset then? I mean, he's an asshole for sure, but
asset,
you think he's an
asshole.
asset?
You can call him a lot of things. But so they had the meeting, and to me it appeared that everything was about Putin. Some of the comments that were made through the media was the fact that usually when somebody hosts one of these conferences, one of these meetings, that the host is the one that speaks first when in front of the press and makes comments. In this case, it was Putin. Putin was taking total control. And one of my senses is telling me that Putin knows a lot about him, a lot about Trump. And I think a lot of things were, again, repeatedly been held over Trump's head because Trump supposedly was going to go in there and be strong. And he was going to put sanctions on Russia if they didn't come to an agreement to have a ceasefire. And the fact that he would provide more weapons to Ukraine. None of that happened. And he walked away with his putz in his hand. And
you mean his mini carrot?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Into his small hands.
After giving Putin a nice blowjob. No, he rolled out the red carpet. He had soldiers out there putting out a red carpet. He was clapping like a fucking seal when he was coming off the plane, like, yay, Putin. Put him in the beast and rode away with him. And then he wouldn't answer any questions afterwards. So.
No, you look at the look on his face. I mean, the guy was... it looked like a look of humiliation.
Yeah, basically Putin said, look, I want the Donbass region. I want all the area that we have. That's what I want. And they don't even have Zelensky there. It's ridiculous.
No, and now
the main player.
And now that they're going to have a meeting with Zelensky and a lot of the Europeans come this week.
Yeah.
So what do you think the reason was to do that for? It was for him to be able to go back to Putin and say, hey, I don't have any control. It's not my fault.
Yeah, I know.
He's a scared rabbit.
Yeah.
So his fear is around a lot of stuff coming out about him that he doesn't want to come out. And Putin holds a lot of those cards.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's how it's always been.
Yeah, when I first heard Trump was saying, well, Putin's going to be here and he's with his business advisors. I don't know what he's planning, but I have an idea, or whatever he said. It's like, okay, so why would you have business advisors and you're going to act stupid about it?
Well, and on top of that, he said, okay, well, we don't need to have a meeting before a ceasefire, which is not usually how things go. He basically said, we're not going to worry about sanctions anymore.
And now he said recently,
talk about weak. Oh my God, he's so flaccid.
Now there's no longer talk about ceasefire. It has to be about peace. Now he's trying to throw his weight in again.
That makes no sense. You always start with a ceasefire before we talk about long-lasting peace. And what's to say that Russia's not just going to go, okay, now let's rearm, and then in a couple of years we're back in it, and we're trying to take the rest of the Ukraine. That's...
Putin didn't even want to talk about a ceasefire.
No.
He didn't, because he has no intention.
He doesn't. He's never had any intention of stopping what he's doing. He's got motivation. It's moving. My friend who's an expert on it, he listens to the Ukrainian news every fucking day. I mean, this is his main issue.
Right.
As much as he hates Trump, and he voted for him the first time and then realized what a dipshit he was. Yeah, he was like, Jesus Christ, what did I do? Anyway, so he's a real independent. and he believes. I don't know how accurate it is, but he believes that, if Putin doesn't win this war, he's dead. They're going to kill him. It's over, for the amount of resources that he's wasted. This is it. That's why he won't give up. It's an all or nothing thing for Putin.
It's the same for both of them, basically, if you really think about it, because if Putin releases all the things he knows about Trump, he's dead in the water.
Well, no, not with his MAGA group. He's not.
Well, I don't know. A lot of them are walking away from him.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at the numbers, and so when he got hired, because he did get hired, he's not a fucking dictator. MAGA was 95% in support of him. To this date, they are down to 85%, which is still high. But you talk about losing 10% in about 8 months. That's a lot of MAGAs that have turned on him.
Yeah, but not all Republicans are MAGA.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it's a small percentage.
Because you have your moderate Republicans who that number's gone down. The independents have gone down. To use a Trump word, hugely.
85% could translate to 15% total votes.
Yeah, it could translate to a lot,
But 50% total votes is not a lot of votes.
But that's only with MAGA.
Right, that's what I'm talking about. And there's a lot of them are starting to turn on him. And a while ago, I was always waiting, even going back to his first term, I was waiting for the Republican Party to implode before Obama left office. Although they looked like they were getting strong, I knew at some point they're going to implode. And, the time is starting to come.
It's not even the Republican Party anymore.
No,
it's
MAGA.
Of
I mean, course it's not.
Many of like my friend, I'm telling you, who loves Ukraine, he was a Republican. I got another friend who's a Republican. I mean, they're like, fuck this is ridiculous. I got another friend who's Republican. They've all basically left. I mean, there's still a couple of them are still registered, but they're basically independents. They are not.
Was that after the Ukraine thing that they felt that way?
No, after Trump.
Okay, because I'm not going to say. Well, I always say this, but one of my family members was. I mean, how can you not look at Ukraine and go, "Oh, this is a bad situation," which they did, and then all of a sudden it was the whole thing with what he was wearing and this whole situation, and now it's like. He said,
"Are you talking about President Zelensky?"
Yeah, he goes, "Fuck Zelensky." It's like, why? Because he wore something? That's enough to just say that.
That is,
and it's like you're listening to the wrong people, man.
Well, Elon Musk was in there not wearing a suit every day.
Yeah,
I mean, come on, nobody said anything about it.
Exactly.
But that's what it took for him to feel that way. Not because of people, whatever's going on.
But Ron, okay. You guys are missing where MAGA is. They are psychologically identified with Trump.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
What I'm having a problem is realizing who was MAGA all the time, who really was.
It's the people.
You just don't do that. You just don't flip.
First of all, let's look at MAGA in one way. What does MAGA stand for?
Make America Great.
Okay. And everybody thinks that it was Trump that came up with that slogan. Do you know who came up with that slogan?
Obama?
No, Ronald Reagan. And if people will look for themselves, don't take my word for it, go and look it up. Who first used the term "Make America Great Again"?
That's right.
It was Ronald Reagan. And the thing about Trump is he's a plagiarist. His wife was a plagiarist because she wrote a book and plagiarized Michelle Obama. They don't have an original thought in their heads.
What are you talking about? They don't even have thoughts in their heads, let alone original.
But you know what I'm talking
Then
about.
I'm talking about the golden age. No, Casey was asking me that yesterday. What is the golden age?
The Gilded Age.
No, they're saying the golden age, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
it's
but that's how they relate.
It's like, what are we talking about? The 50s when everything was going on?
We're talking before the turn of the century.
The 70s weren't great.
No, that's not what they're talking about.
Talking about before the turn of the century.
Yes, they're talking about the
late
1890s when we were industrializing.
Right.
And all of the wealth was in a very small number of hands. Right. And there was abject poverty in this country. That's like the times when The Jungle was written. That's when communism really sort of came to light, when Karl Marx was writing about it in the 1870s and 1880s.
People were fed up with the czar.
This is good.
Yes. So what they saw was capitalism and the evils with capitalism, and how when you concentrate that amount of money in somebody's hands, and then you get the working class where they're working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, they can't survive without their boss, right? And the corporation, how evil that is. And so that's where he came up with the political theory for communism, right? That we should overthrow the proletariat, right?
And everybody's
the
equal.
bourgeoisie. The proletariat needs to overthrow the bourgeoisie. The proletariat being the common man, the poor, overthrow the middle class or the rich, and take all the property for ourselves, even if we have to do it violently, and you redistribute it amongst everybody. And then we live in Smurf Village. The problem with that is that Lenin, who sort of ran that when you had the whites and the red, the Bolsheviks, and the reds came out on top, and Lenin then became the main man. You don't want to give up power once you have it.
Wasn't Trotsky? Trotsky was is at the same time of the rise of Lenin.
Yes.
But Trotsky was one of the main precipitors of communism.
Yes, he was the intellectual part.
Right.
So when Lenin was getting ready to die, he didn't really talk about a successor. That's where he had Trotsky and Stalin.
Right.
Stalin was just the Trump. He was a fucking moron who was highly...
He was a useful idiot.
Well, yeah, and he was insecure. I mean, he purged. There was a couple great purges where he killed hundreds of thousands of his own people, right? I think it was hundreds of thousands in the Great Purge of 1937, I want to say.
Would die.
Well, anybody that he thought was working against him.
You talking about Stalin?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but
so
over time, it was far greater in numbers. It was in the millions.
Yes, but I'm talking about when they had the Great Purge. But over the time that he ran, and I want to say Lenin died in 27, somewhere in there, 1927. And then Stalin took over. Well, Stalin pushed Trotsky out because it was one of the two that was going to lead. And then Trotsky ran, and then Stalin had him killed. That's a lot of what, if you ever read Animal Farm, that's what it's about. It's exactly what it's about.
Let me tell you something that my aunt told me. May she rest in peace. My great-grandmother, my aunt's mother, along with my grandmother, my uncle, great-uncle, and my other great-aunt, they were children at the time, and they were living in Zhytomyr, Ukraine. And what's happening by the Russians today is the same thing that was happening back then. They were raping the women. They would go into the towns, literally rape the women. They would take little girls that would never be seen again. They would kidnap them, never to be heard of.
And put them on
again.
Epstein's Island.
Yeah, right.
Disney boat, right?
But the truth, this is the truth. These people have been savages, and that nothing has changed. Nothing.
No,
because they're doing the same
The
thing
Russians,
today.
and that's what my buddy who was talking about. The Russians have always been the Russians. The Russians have always been this way.
Yeah.
And what Putin is trying to do is bring back the glory of the Soviet Union. That's what he was a KGB agent, right? Or FSB agent. I'm not sure which one it was.
No, he was a KGB agent.
So not just a scrapper, but he grew up in that. And when it was crumbling, he couldn't believe what was happening around him. So he wants to bring that glory back and get the glory of Russia back and get all those territories back and then get all the minerals, right? And and the breadbasket of the world. That's what Ukraine is known at. It has a lot of resources.
He'll be the hero.
Yes.
You
He'll be the hero. And I mean, he doesn't. The guy has more money than,
than most.
Yeah, most. Yeah, he doesn't need money, right? It's all about power. That's what happens at some point with these people.
Yeah, because I was watching the McCartney in Russia. Remember that? It was like the first
Right.
Putin got him in.
Right.
I was watching a documentary. And,
It was called Red Square.
yeah, and then he went back. McCartney went back and said, "Wow, I never thought he was going to turn out that way. I thought he was going to do so much for this country, that country in Russia.
Oh God.
Because he was bringing me in. He was starting to westernize things. He thought.
That's because McCartney didn't know enough about Russian politics, because even before McCartney went there to perform, Putin was already on course to doing what he's doing today. It was very evident. But unless you understand politics, world politics, you would never know that. You're not paying attention to it.
McCartney is the everyman person. That's why we need to hear stuff like this so we can understand what that was all about and why it turned into what it did.
I mean, look how many people Putin had poisoned. Navalny.
Oh, yeah. He's killed all kinds of people all over the world who fled, who were just like Stalin had this idea of who was working against him. They weren't always, and he would kill them. Putin has the people that actually were working against him and had gotten the people to rise up against him. And he'll find him and kill him.
If he couldn't kill him, he'd put him in prison.
So his people are more or less what MAGA is today, right?
Yeah.
Which is,
yeah. The only difference between MAGA and the Russians, the Russian followers of Putin, is that the MAGA people aren't killing anybody yet.
Yeah. And so let's go back to Trump. If you go back to the history of Trump, from what I've read with his ties to Russia, it goes back to like 1984. Mm-hmm. And in that time, what happened was there was Russian land owners, Russian investors, who came
bought some hotels,
not
condos.
just bought. They came to Trump and said, "Hey, look, man, we'll build these condos for you. We'll give you an 18% return, and you don't have to invest any money." So what do you think was going on at that time? What do you think was going on with Deutsche Bank, which was investigated for
money laundering?
Yes, Russian money laundering.
Okay, well, one other thing along with that particular part is that one of the guys from Deutsche Bank that was helping set up loans for Trump that were forms of money laundering was one of the Supreme Court Justice's sons, Kennedy.
Yes.
His son was working for Deutsche Bank and was working on Trump's loans. He helped facilitate them. Don't you find it a little bit odd while Trump was president that Kennedy decided to step down and make way, because Kennedy was a centrist, okay? And turn around and leave the opportunity for him to put in a hardcore right-wing justice to take his place. Yeah. So there was a lot of corruption in that.
So Trump's ties go back to 1984 when he got into bed with the Russians. And then later on down the road with his 6 bankruptcies, and there's no other bank in the world that would give him money. All of a sudden, Deutsche Bank's giving him money. So there's nobody who comes in and says, "Hey man, I want to build hotels or condos or apartment complexes. Here's all the money up front. You don't have to do anything. I'll give you an 18% return." That is something, in my opinion, that just stinks to high heaven. That's corruption there. And that's been going on. And then Deutsche Bank and Kennedy's son working those loans and then them being investigated for money laundering with Russian oligarchs and them giving money to Trump, which is something that he's always done. Give me the money, run it through because that's how you clean money. My friends, give you a little side note. My cousin, who I didn't know at this time, my friend was his son. My friend's mom and this cousin, who are much older, they were together. I didn't know he was my cousin at the time, but found out later. So he was working for a drug cartel here in San Bernardino. Wow. So what they would do, in fact, my friend at one point found like $10,000 in a camper that was left there, and they didn't know what was going on. My cousin was he always had cash. He never worked. He had these little tapes. He ran the books. He would go drop stuff off. We'd go with him sometimes. He'd drop stuff off at houses and come back out, and we'd leave. When you're in middle school, you don't think about that. You're like, oh, I don't know. He doesn't. What is he doing? You figure out later, because my buddy, and that's how we knew he was in a drug cartel, and I put it 2 and 2 together. They had a house, and we would move from house to house. They'd be in a house for 2 or 3 years. Then they go, okay, now we're moving in this other house. They wouldn't pay any money. So what the drug cartel was doing was buying properties, letting them run through, right, the money, selling them, pulling the money out. Now it's clean, right? So they'll take their dirty cash, buy the house, cash.
Taking notes?
Yeah. Then they will turn around and sell the house. Now it's clean, right? And they would do that with multiple properties. And we found out later on because my buddy was up there, and this cousin was all sketchy about what was going on. And he said, hey, man, the shotgun's in. Then he's like, what are you talking about, the shotgun? Found out later that they were out to kill him because he was skimming money. And my mom had talked about another cousin that had gone to Thailand and spent something like 10 years in a Thai prison for running drugs. And then I was able to put 2 and 2 together when I found out about this particular guy. And I'm like, oh.
By the
But
way,
just to go back to the idea that that's what you do. That's how you clean your money. You take your dirty money, and real estate is one of the best ways to do it. You put it into real estate, you sell it, you pull that money back out, and now it's clean.
Okay, so
real quick, you got some breaking news that came about.
Oh, no.
And it says the Supreme Court just gave the green light for the Trump administration to gut the Department of Education.
privatizing it.
Oh, gut. In other words, they don't have to privatize it. They just end it.
So what does that mean for somebody that works in the school district?
About 11% of the budget comes from that. So it's going to mean you're going to get hit. The biggest thing that the Department of Education does is they take care of all of your special ed stuff.
Food for the kids.
And food for the kids. Those are the two of the biggest
Those are
things.
important. Those
Yes.
are very important.
So any lawsuits, all the rules for special ed governing it would go through the Department of Education,
go
and
out
they
the window.
and then they would set the standards. So they were supposed. You remember, we would have No Child Left Behind and Common Core, right? So then they set the standards for what they want, the basis for our education to be. So all that's going to go away, and they're going to push it back to the states to deal with it.
So is that true that the handicapped, they're going to try to put them in institutions so they didn't have to pay out? I mean, what's going
No,
on?
that would be something different.
That's,
It would just,
but I'm just saying.
it would just mean that the children that have special needs would not be they wouldn't be taken care of in the way they were in the past. And it would really be up to the school districts to make sure that was maintained. And with the way things are, especially in the red states, you can kiss it goodbye. Mm-hmm. And the poor kids are going to be affected by it. For all you people out there that voted for Trump, where is your conscience? Where is your heart? Because it doesn't reflect that if you support a man like that, then you're supporting all these actions. And these kids didn't come into this world wanting to be the way they are.
All right, so let's get back to
That was just a break-in part.
Yeah. No.
Putin, right?
Yeah.
So what's really what did Trump get out of it? Absolutely nothing. He looked like an idiot. He gave Putin great PR, justified him instead of arresting him.
He did get something. He got a little bit more time before Putin spills his guts, if it ever comes about.
The purpose of it was compared to what ended.
Well,
For show. And the thing is, the one thing that Putin got out of it was being able to go. A man who is been found guilty at The Hague for crimes against humanity, who is not welcome in most places in the world, got to step on Western soil.
Yep.
And not have to worry about being arrested.
Yep.
He got to be able to stand next to one of the most powerful men in the world, which, goddamn, also the most idiotic person in the world.
He's playing 4D chess. Our president, he plays 4D chess.
And so Putin got
as he eats crayons.
Putin got more than any of us were able to get.
And Trump, it was nothing. I mean, it was basically Trump back down on, we don't have to have a ceasefire before peace. I'm not going to impose any sanctions anymore. We just need to get a peace deal done, and it's ridiculous. I mean, the guy like, I'm gonna get eggs down in day one. I'm gonna solve the Ukraine war in day one. I'm gonna fix the Middle East day one.
Right.
This fucker,
I'm gonna solve the food or the cost of food.
That's what I meant. Getting eggs. It's just ridiculous. The guy's a moron, and people who listen to him are just as dumb.
Well, I've always said that if you think about it, when we vote for somebody, we normally, instinctively, will vote for somebody who we believe is more intelligent than we are ourselves.
Yeah.
So what the hell does that say about the people that voted for this moron?
Look, and the first time around, I can understand it. They thought he was this great businessman. We should get a businessman in there.
But you're not supposed to have a businessman in the presidency.
No, you can't, because the United States is not a business.
Guys, I understand that. That's not the point.
Right. No, I get you.
The point is that people thought because he was this quote-unquote good businessman, somehow he could get in there and just get things done. And that's not how government runs.
Right.
On top of it, he's a pile of shit businessman who went bankrupt six times. All 20 of his businesses that he's ever brought to fruition has failed.
But he's learned from his mistakes.
No, he hasn't.
They're bullshit.
Come on. You're talking
Anybody
about
that says that's just trying to stick up.
Trump Steaks failed. Trump Airlines failed.
How about the water?
Three casinos failed. Trump trading cards. Trump shoes.
Wine.
Trump wine. Trump shoes. Trump steak knives.
So
Trump
you're
everything.
saying he works the system?
Yes, he's a grifter.
Right, exactly. And people need to wake up if they haven't woken up already to it. That's the other thing. The right wing always talks about how the left is woke. They've made that a bad...
Woke is a good thing.
They made it like a bad term. When in fact, all it means is people are aware. People are woken up. That's what woke means. Which means what their real agenda is to keep everybody asleep. Keep everybody from becoming aware. Because if they do, people will see what their game is and they will leave. They will leave that party. So they made that word a bad word, just like they do with everything else. Just like they do when they call Democrats or liberals, they call them other things, by other names.
Demorats.
But the point is, it doesn't matter what it is.
Libtards.
The fact that they do that. Have you heard Democrats find words to call?
I do.
John's got a whole bunch.
MAGA morons, magtards.
No, but things that are
maggots.
But that's your own
fucktards.
But John, that's your own agenda.
Yeah, I know.
I'm talking about.
As a whole, Democrats don't go. Let's call them, magatards.
Exactly. That's my point.
Let's call them republicards. I know. I get it.
That's my point.
I know.
So they've tried to find, and that's all they can do because they're like bullies.
They're like little children.
They're like bullies in the schoolyard.
They're little third grade children, just like Trump. And that's all they know how to do because they don't have any policy. They don't have intelligence. They can't formulate sentences. They can't make arguments. The facts aren't on their side, so they can't even argue those. And they don't even care about the facts because what they have done is identified with Donald Trump. Because Trump is the guy who is attacking the elites. He's the one who's going to go after the deep state. He's the one who's going to save them from all that. And he gives them license to say words like retard and faggot and the N-word. So he has brought that back. He gives them license to
be bigots.
Yes, to be bigots and to be misogynists. And he sounds like them. So they've identified with him.
Well, wait, they sound like him because he's the one that set the stage for that kind of talk, that kind of verbalization hadn't really happened before Obama. Did you ever hear Bush talk that way? Did you hear any president talk that way? No. He set the stage to say that it was okay. He gave them permission to be that way.
But the crazy part is, like, Newsom is going after him.
You're right.
And he's doing the exact same thing
and they don't like
to the maggots
And they don't
that
like
they do. And now they're like, why is he doing that? Why is he making fun of us? Kristi Noem on freaking South Park, where they're making fun of her face falling off, and she's got makeup, and they got all these people all they can do is make fun of the way I look. And then you go, Trump's doing this kind of thing with the poor guy who's a reporter. He's handicapped, and he's making fun of him. He's calling Elizabeth Warren Pocahontas. You guys fucking didn't have a problem with that.
Sleepy Joe.
Yeah,
what about
Sleepy Joe.
Cruz's wife, he attacks.
Oh, he attacked everybody.
See, he will before he attacks a man, he'll attack a woman.
But
he goes for the one that's the easiest mark that he doesn't think that will come back at him with anything. Even Cruz didn't even go back.
Well, Cruz is a pussy.
Yeah, he first goes back.
I shouldn't say that.
You don't talk about my wife
Cruz
that
isn't
way,
a pussy.
And that was it. You never heard
Pussies are tough. They could take a fucking beating. Cruz is a ball sack. You barely scrape that fucking thing, and it's all ow. So all the MAGAs are sensitive. They're a bunch of ball sacks. They can't handle it when you give it back to them. And Newsom's doing that, and on Fox News they're like, "Oh, Newsom's saying this," and he's just making fun of Trump. He's just fucking tweeting the way Trump does. That's it. And he's making fun of him. And they're so stupid, they don't get it.
I'd like to know if people,
and they're whining about it.
The people that are listening out there, how does it feel that you might have a higher IQ point than the president? Does that bother you?
Yeah, you would think,
Well,
but no.
It doesn't bother me that I have a higher IQ.
It does bother me.
I mean, somebody that with a barely
because there was nothing we could do. Secondly, the thing is, we're to assume that everything about the election on his side was legitimate. But he told us a lot of things that were opposite of that. He was telling us the election was rigged.
Mm-hmm.
So if the election was rigged, okay, we buy that. Then why are you president? Mm-hmm. And the idea, and when the other Republicans will stand up and say that it was rigged, and they try to defend him, then if it was rigged, maybe we need to go back into your districts and have a new election or a new count, mm-hmm. because evidently you're telling us that you shouldn't maybe be in your office, in your position.
Isn't that amazing?
Well, and look what they're doing now. They're trying to gerrymander and get 5 more seats.
Right.
Trump and Abbott.
We like that word so much. We learned about it from last time that when Jeremy is in a different personality, mm-hmm. one of his names is gerrymander.
The thing is, he did this in Georgia. All I need is 1,150 more votes.
He tried.
Well, that's the point. Mm-hmm. He never stops. His game never changes. It's always the same. So he goes back to Abbott, who was the most corrupt governor in the country, and he's trying to get him to add more seats in the middle of his census. No, it's every 10 years. 5 years later, you're going to do it again.
You're not supposed to.
The name of the game.
I know. It's like they're riding on a seesaw.
And the minute that Newsom decides that he's going to fight fire with fire, they don't like it. Mm-hmm. Tough shit.
Or when the Democrats ran, because that's all they can do, so that they don't have a quorum, so they can't vote on it, because the Democrats know they're going to lose, and if they're not there, they can't have a vote. And then they want to whine about that. Well, the Democrats are running. Well, yeah, that's the only power that they have, is to try to at least slow this down, right? And they're bitching about it. They're crying about it. Then they're going, well, we're going to get the FBI to bring back it. They haven't broken any laws.
No, yeah.
You haven't done anything wrong. They haven't broken Texas law. And even if they broke Texas law, that's not a federal law.
Right.
That's state law,
exactly.
Which they didn't.
Right.
And they haven't broken any federal law, so you can't send the FBI after them. So if you do that, what have you become? And this is the problem that the people don't understand. It's just like in Germany. It starts with the people you don't like, and eventually it starts to affect you, because you thought it wasn't going to happen to you. Just like Cubans for Trump, just like all the people who got cut by Doge, just like the farmers who voted for him, and they're all getting fucked. And you're like, well, that's not what I voted for. It's exactly what you voted for.
I'm waiting for Trump to tell me how to feel.
Yeah, well,
he's doing that anyway.
Because I can't.
If it does,
myself.
No, they can't. That's the problem.
But the thing is, we have to make sure that we stand up. I don't care what party you're in.
No.
But every person has to stand up for what they know inherently is the right thing. You know,
But that's that's the problem. They don't.
But wait a second. That's not necessarily true.
Okay.
There are people that will be in denial, or they don't want to believe, but they, in their heart of hearts, they know what's right and they know what's wrong, because right and wrong is an instinctual thing.
Doesn't matter. You can know what's right and wrong. If you don't act on it, it doesn't make a fucking difference.
I don't disagree with that part of it. But if you set those things to the side, you know, it's like years ago when I was married to a woman who was a bigot and a racist, and she didn't like the fact that people were coming from over the border and they were using our health system.
How'd you feel about Jews?
She married one. But the point is that I sat and I thought to myself, if I was in those people's position, what would I do? I took myself, in a way, out of the whole... I took personal beliefs and set them aside and asked myself the questions. And I was being honest with myself, which most people need to learn how to do, because that's the truth. They're not honest with themselves. I came to the realization that if I was in their position, that I probably wouldn't do anything any different, because I'd be more interested in taking care of my families. I'd be more interested in making sure that my children got what they needed. And I'd put them in front of myself. I work hard. These people that are here work their asses off. Who's going to clean the hotel rooms? We've gone through this before. Who's going to go out into the fields and pick the food that we put onto our tables? Who are the people that are going to help
build those tables, or the houses that are around the tables?
The houses, building the houses.
We went to Costco yesterday. It's all Hispanic. They're kicking ass in there and working and cleaning and everything.
But the point is, these people are working hard, and I used to hear it all the time. Oh, the people that are coming over the border are hardworking people. What happened to that image? People drop that, and the truth is they are hardworking people, and if there are criminals, there's a far more amount of American-born people that are criminals.
Like the government.
And the people that are here over the border and may not be here legally, that are criminals, fine. Get rid of them, but don't go after the innocent people. And just because they're Mexican, or just because they work at Home Depot, and just because they work in a fast food restaurant, or they work in a Mexican restaurant, that is not enough of a reason to go after them. That's unconscionable.
But that's not... The problem is that this country is deeply racist.
Yeah.
End of story. It always has been.
Yeah.
And the catalyst for Trump, in my opinion, this is my opinion, is that when a black man, even a watered-down black man like Barack Obama, who's highly intelligent, professor at Harvard, was a senator.
Tim Scott
yeah.
from, North Carolina?
Yeah. But at any rate, once he became president, all the racism with the white people came out. And Trump was the person that allowed it, that was going to bring back whiteness to America. And you see it right now. That's exactly what's happening.
The guy that helps Jeremy out, he's African American or black or whatever. And when we were bringing up, this just happened the other day, we were bringing up the racism, and he's like, I don't want to hear it. It's been going on my whole life.
Yeah.
It hasn't changed.
No, it's no different for him. It's
You see it now.
It's just lessened for them. Is all it was.
What are you going to do about it? That's really the question.
Yeah, nothing's going to ever change, basically. Yeah.
And the thing is, you have these other people that I mean, Trump told us when he came down that golden escalator.
He was honest about it.
Oh yeah, he was right up front. I'm a racist. I hate Mexicans. I hate anybody that comes from outside of this country that's from Latin America, because they're all scum. And that's what he was telling us. That's what he was saying. Why didn't people pay attention to that? A bigot is a bigot.
What do you mean pay attention? Kid, you're missing the point. They loved it. It's not about paying attention. They wanted that. They could not handle having they're like, whoa, what do you mean? Like, we're okay with black people, we're okay with Mexicans, but now one's running the country? Oh, we can't have that.
Yeah, but wait a second. You know, the thing is
That's what happened.
Hey, look, it's not just the point of them not listening. The people that should have been listening are the people that he was attacking. And a lot of those people were unwilling to vote for Harris because either she was a woman or she was
Well, there
someone
you go.
of color.
There you go.
And yet,
there's another form of bigotry.
but yet, that's one of the reasons why these male Hispanics didn't want to vote for her. Mm-hmm. But yet they would vote for that asshole coming down the golden escalator, telling those people themselves what he was about.
Because they think now I have a stake in this country, and I'm a man, and I should be above a woman, and there's no way I'm voting for a woman.
And they found out that the stake they had was only a piece of meat.
Well, yes, because they're being deported too.
Yeah, because growing up, but I was always taught,
But that's what it is. It's all about bigotry.
Well, I was always taught like you could, like Jimmy Carter, you could vote for him and you can have complaints about him. Reagan complaints, you could vote for him. You know, like I voted for Reagan, I voted for Bush the first one, not the second one. I voted for Obama. You know, I bitch, I can complain. And there were some complaints there that I didn't like. But, you know, he's who I voted for, whatever it might be. Now here we have Trump, and there's like, John's right. They're not complaining because everything they want is happening.
Until it hurts them.
Until it comes home to roost. Now, when you turn around and you take health care into consideration, Medicaid, Medicare, you're looking at Social Security, all those things, that much of what we have a right to because we paid into it, it's not theirs, but they want to take it anyway. And when you're talking about vets, the Republicans kept talking how they're committed to the veterans. Oh, yeah? Well, put your money where your mouth is, assholes, because you're the ones turning your back on those people, and you have been since Reagan. Reagan started turning his back on the vets, and it's continued over the years. The only one that's been willing to stand up for them, whether they like it or not, have been Democrats. Yeah. Okay? When you give your word to somebody, I was taught you always keep your word because your word should be gold. And so what's going to happen is kids are going to be affected. People with disabilities are going to be affected. You're talking about so many people going to be ill affected because of the health care that they're not going to be getting.
Right. Well, what about Obamacare? So I know a lot of people that helped, a lot of people that were Republican that got help from that. But I was reading a thing actually this morning about the guy saying, well, Obamacare was a tax on the people. I said, but it was helping people. You're opposed to helping
the reason why they're ignorant around that is because it's got Obama's name on it. If you call it for what it really is, the Affordable Care Act, and they didn't call it Obamacare, it'd be a whole different topic.
Yeah, I believe that, yeah.
Well,
there's a racial there.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah. No, not just, it wasn't just racial. It had to do with the Democrats coming up with it. Because actually Newt Gingrich came up with that idea back in 1994.
You know who really came up with it first?
Whom?
It was, he was from Massachusetts.
No.
He ran for president.
No. Not Romney wasn't
Romney.
the first. No. Newt Gingrich came up with the idea back in 1994.
So how did
it never happened? It never happened. But Newt Gingrich.
No, when was Romney? When was Romney governor of?
Right before he ran for president. And that was he ran against.
Was that after 94?
He ran against. Yeah, he ran against Obama in 2000.
That was much later.
2008. Right? No, 2012 is when Romney ran for it.
Right.
So no. Newt Gingrich, a Republican, came up with the idea, which would be like the Affordable Care Act. It just never got traction. And then when we actually do it, because it's done by a Democrat, and especially because it was done under a black man, I think that had it. It's the worst thing on the planet. And it's helped so many people.
Right.
And then they got it. This is the problem with the Republicans, too. They have no fucking policy. They have no fucking ideas.
No
their whole idea is to destroy things. Just destroy it. Then you say it doesn't work, and then you say you need me. And then they never put anything into place, and then they destroy the next thing, and they say, look, it got destroyed, you need me, and people fall for this shit.
Yeah, but look what Trump said when he was first running the first time, and how Obamacare, or the ACA, Affordable Care Act, was a failure. and he's got a plan, and they're going to put something in better. And then when they asked him, he says, "Well, it's a concept right now." They never had a replacement for it. They always talk about replacing, and replacing with something better. They never had anything in mind. In fact, they don't have minds.
That's exactly what I've just said.
Yeah, I mean,
all they want to do is destroy stuff. They're the party of destruction. That's what MAGA is. They're the party of destruction and chaos.
Yeah.
It's kind of like this over here at Marsh Air Force Base. They had that beautiful hospital. They retrofitted it. It was all nice. They redid everything inside. And something happened where they closed it down. So they're talking about, why don't we use it for the homeless? So they destroyed it. And then there was another place for a big 3-story building for the, was it 2-story building? For the enlisted men, right? And they were talking about, hey, this would be nice to help people that wanted help. For the homeless, they wouldn't knock that down. Because they're like, no, we're not helping anybody.
When they were redrawing the map for Newsom's proposition for the congressional map, Ken Calvert's going to get wiped out because what they're looking at doing is taking our district and extending it all the way out to Whittier, and which will dilute his supporters and whoever's going to get in there. I know of the guy. I met the guy a couple of times who's wants to run against him, and we'll see how that goes. I saw him at the last CLC at the rally this week.
Well, let's talk about what's really important, not this bullshit that you guys are talking about.
Okay.
Epstein files. Sorry, Donnie, you're not hiding from the Epstein files, pumpkin.
Well, the Epstein files too. Like I was saying before, even with Putin, he has all the information.
That's what I've thought about the whole time. I'm like, what does Putin have on this guy? Like, what is he like? What has he fucking got on him?
You have to look at a few things and try to put.
I mean, the 25 love letters he writes to this guy, the way that he kowtows to him, it's
there's a connection, I believe, with Melania and Putin.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby, yeah.
Because
he's been Putin.
Jeffrey Epstein, as well as
he's
Trump,
been Putin's USSR tour.
When they had their modeling management companies, they were going out and getting women from the Eastern Bloc countries.
So Slovenia?
Slovenia was one of them.
I am from Slovenia.
Yes.
Jace, I'm very nice looking.
And a lot of those people, too, you got to remember, were also, because they're Eastern Bloc countries, they were tied in to some of the communists and the people, what was left over. And there was some talk about one of Trump's partners in his management company introduced her to Trump. But where did she come from before that? And
Jeffrey Epstein.
The connection. Well, but you look. I mean, they're all tied.
I know they're all tied together. Yes, I think.
Did she really come from that area?
Slovenia? Yeah, she.
No. The Epstein was she?
Oh no. I don't know.
Well, she wasn't involved like Maxwell.
No, she wasn't.
She wasn't.
As far as
I
know, she wasn't.
But she was involved because she eventually became a part of the thing. She was part of the modeling agency as a so-called model, and then so that's how she's supposed to. Yeah, and so she could be one of those plants by Putin. I mean, they've got their ways of creating those connections.
Yeah, I don't know how that modeling agency was connected to Epstein at all, but
I find it interesting that she actually wrote a letter that was delivered by Trump to Putin.
Yes. No, I thought it was the opposite. Didn't Putin write her a letter?
No, she wrote the letter to him about the children and all that, supposedly.
And Disney Cruise Lines were dropping kids out there to snorkel on that island.
Which island?
Epstein Island.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he probably doesn't own it anymore. Nobody in his estate
they probably don't do that, I'm sure.
The estate probably doesn't own it anymore. So the thing is that Epstein, there was a connection there with Melania. They all have got this tie together. And I also think because Epstein was getting a lot of his girls from the Eastern Bloc countries, I understand that he had a connection with Putin as well. And it's not something that would go over my head. I mean, I would believe that happened.
To deny that would be to be very ignorant, or just don't care.
Right.
Same with Epstein. If you just ignore the fact that Trump knew Epstein because what Epstein wrote, and I mean, how ignorant do you have to be to realize that?
It didn't even have to be what Epstein wrote. Just look with your own eyes.
Putin read Melania's letter. That's what I. Yes. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So with your own eyes, you see all the things that are there. You don't even have to conjure up anything. Look at what's being put in front of your eyes. Listen with your own ears that comes out of that man's mouth, that pie hole. It tells you everything you need to know. You don't have to turn around try to...
How do you even understand that? It's a word salad. I mean, you've listened to some of they actually listen to them transcribe some of the words that come out of that guy's mouth in terms of trying to formulate things.
I'm talking about what he has said in the past.
Yeah, he's not a good speaker.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not a matter of him giving a speech. It's a matter of the words, the things that he has said about himself, the things that he had been involved in.
Well, grabbing him by the pussy.
Yeah, all these things from his own past.
Well, of course,
he tells the story himself.
You've got nothing but pictures of him and Epstein everywhere. He's had a private party with Epstein and just a bunch of young girls. He's been to that island 37 times on his own plane. They've got him logged on Epstein's plane at least 7 or 8 times flying with him. He bought a Miss Teen U.S. pageant and would go in the back, admitted to it on Howard Stern. They would go back and look at naked girls. That's like a fucking gym teacher going into the locker room going, "Hey girls, hey, how's it going in here while they're changing?"
These are actually
you know what? That's another good thing. Go back. People, all they can have to
They don't want to.
All they have to do is listen to the Howard Stern interview.
Yeah, they want to joke.
Tells you everything.
Yeah,
you
but the
need to
problem
know.
is they want to justify it all. I thought we were done when he said I grabbed him by the pussy. He lost the defamation case against E. Jean Carroll. Owes her $5 million. He's an adjudicated rapist. The 12-year-old on the Epstein Isle said that he raped her. He talks about wanting to fuck his own daughter. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. What do you need to know?
Exactly. And then on top of it, you want to talk for credibility, all the crap that he's doing to make all the money he's making today.
All the grifting?
All the grifting he's doing, and people are just sitting there going, "Oh, well, I guess it's okay.
If you give me $1 million, I'll give you a pardon."
Could you imagine if Obama did that?
Oh, my God.
That's the end of our...
What?
That's the end of our episode for this week.
Oh, it is?
Listen to our next one, which will be episode number 6.
We might pick up with Epstein again.
Yeah.
I like this guy.
And we'll see you later.